Here's something to think about. Have you ever regretted not saying something when you had the chance? A simple phrase, a few words, maybe just, "I'm sorry." And yet you didn't say it. You held back. Maybe it was pride, maybe it was fear, maybe you told yourself there would be another time. But then time ran out. The moment passed, and now you live with a weight you can't put down, a regret that lingers in the quiet hours of the night, a thought that whispers, "What if?" Life is an unpredictable series of moments, and we never truly know which one will be the last. We walk through our days assuming there will always be another sunrise, another chance, another opportunity to fix what's broken. But that's a dangerous illusion. People disappear. Relationships fade. Sometimes all it takes is one moment of hesitation, one act of silence, for everything to change forever. And when that happens, no amount of wishing can bring back the opportunity we let slip away. No amount of regret can rewrite the past. There is a story about a man who carried anger toward his closest friend. It was over something trivial, something that in hindsight barely mattered. But at the time, it felt enormous, so he let it fester. He told himself, if he wants to fix this, he'll come to me. Days passed, then weeks, then months. The silence stretched between them like an invisible wall, and neither of them dared to tear it down. And then the phone call came. His friend was gone, just like that. No warning, no second chances, and suddenly the weight of an unsaid apology became unbearable. This is the human tragedy, not just that we lose people, but that we so often lose them before we have the chance or the courage to make things right. And then we are left with nothing but the echoes of words we should have said. This is why so many people walk through life burdened by regret, because they waited, because they assumed there would be another time. But time is ruthless. It takes and it does not give back. There is a profound wisdom in admitting when you are wrong, in stepping forward and saying, "I made a mistake, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that, I am sorry." Those words carry immense power. They can soften hardened hearts. They can heal wounds that time alone cannot touch. And yet so many people refuse to say them. They tell themselves that apologizing is weakness, that it's surrender, that it makes them look small. But here's the truth. There is nothing more courageous than acknowledging when you have hurt someone and making it right. Pride is a terrible master. It convinces you that being right is more important than being kind. It makes you hold on to grudges like they are treasures, when in reality they are chains. It whispers to you, "Don't be the first to apologize." That makes you weak. But strength is not found in holding grudges. Strength is found in letting go of them, in taking responsibility for your actions, in refusing to let ego stand in the way of connection. And that is difficult. It takes humility. It takes wisdom. It takes the ability to look beyond your own emotions and see the bigger picture. There's an old saying, do you want to be right or do you want to be at peace? Too many people choose the former, believing that proving a point is more valuable than preserving a relationship. But what good is being right when it comes at the cost of losing someone you love? What good is pride when it leaves you alone with your regrets? The truth is, an apology is not just about the other person, it's about you. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of guilt. It's about choosing peace over conflict, resolution over resentment. It's about making the conscious decision to not let the past define your future. When you apologize, you are not just offering words, you are extending a bridge. And the tragedy of life is that we often realize the importance of that bridge only when it has already collapsed. We tell ourselves that people will always be there, that there will be time to fix things. But time is deceptive. It moves forward relentlessly, indifferent to our plans and expectations. One moment you think you have forever, the next you are standing at a graveside wishing you had spoken sooner. That is the cruelest kind of pain. The pain of knowing you could have changed something but didn't. And it stays with you because once someone is gone, All you have left are the words you never said. So, what stops us? Fear, stubbornness, the belief that the other person should be the one to take the first step. None of these are good enough reasons to let a relationship rot. None of these are worth the sleepless nights spent replaying memories, wishing you could go back. Apologies are uncomfortable, they require vulnerability, but vulnerability is not weakness. It is the very thing that makes us human. It is the foundation of real connection. And if you wait too long, if you let your pride dictate your actions, you may find yourself in a place where your apology is no longer possible, where all you can do is whisper it into the void, hoping that somehow, somewhere, it is heard. Imagine this. What if right now you picked up the phone and called the person you've been avoiding? What if you sent that message, had that conversation, made that effort? What if you didn't wait until tomorrow? Because tomorrow is not guaranteed. If you have an apology to make it now. If you have something to fix it today. Don't let anger sit too long. It hardens into something much more difficult to break. Don't let silence stretch too far. It turns into distance that cannot be bridged. Regret is a heavy burden to carry. It will whisper to you in the quiet moments. It will remind you of your failures. It will make you wish for time you no longer have. But you have a choice right now to prevent that, to take action, to speak while there is still someone to listen. There is no shame in apologizing. There is no weakness in admitting fault. The real weakness is in allowing pride to keep you from saying what needs to be said. The real tragedy is in waiting until it's too late. So, I leave you with this. If today was your last day, would you be at peace with the words you've spoken, or would you be haunted by the ones you never said? If there is even one person in your life who needs to hear your apology, don't wait, don't hesitate. Say it before the moment is gone, before the silence becomes permanent, before regret is all that remains. There's a truth we all know, but don't always acknowledge. We have all been wrong at some point in our lives. We've hurt someone, we've caused pain, and we've been the cause of distance that could have been prevented, but we refuse to face it. We tell ourselves we don't need to apologize. We pretend that silence will heal the wounds we've inflicted, and then one day it hits us. We've waited too long. The moment has passed. The opportunity for reconciliation is gone. How many of us have felt that deep gnawing regret in the pit of our stomachs, the kind that comes when we realize that an apology could have changed everything, but we never gave it? That simple gesture of humility, of recognition, could have repaired the most broken parts of a relationship, but we let pride or fear keep us from speaking. And now all we're left with is the bitter taste of what if? The pain of regret is not just about wishing you could go back and change what you did. It's about knowing that something as simple as a few words said at the right time could have saved everything you've lost. But you waited. You thought there would be another time, that you'd get another chance. But that's the lie we tell ourselves. There will always be another time. There won't. Life doesn't wait. It moves on, indifferent to our plans, and sometimes when we finally realize the importance of an apology, it's already too late to say it. Consider this. Have you ever held on to anger, allowing it to fester until it became something unrecognizable, something that didn't resemble the original issue anymore? That's what happens when we let pride and resentment control us. We begin to think that being right is more important than being kind. We begin to think that apologizing makes us weak, but the truth is, it takes far more strength to humble yourself, to admit fault, and to make amends than it does to hold on to your pride. Pride builds walls. It convinces you that apologizing makes you small. that it's beneath you, that you don't need to humble yourself. And in doing so, pride robs you of the one thing that could restore peace and connection in your life. It builds distance where there could be closeness. It creates a void where love and understanding could thrive. And in the end, all it leaves you with is an empty space where a meaningful relationship used to be. It's not weakness to apologize. It's a sign of emotional strength. Strength is not about being right all the time. It's about knowing when to be wrong and choosing to make it right. And this is where the power of an apology lies. When you speak those words, you are not just admitting fault. You are taking the first step toward healing. You are choosing peace over conflict. You are choosing humility over pride. And that takes courage. It takes emotional resilience. It requires that you put aside your ego and say, I was wrong and I'm sorry. Here's the thing, when we wait too long to apologize, we aren't just hurting the person we've wronged, we are hurting ourselves. The weight of unspoken words becomes a burden we carry around. Every day we refuse to speak the truth. We add more weight to that burden. Every moment we hold back, we make it harder to take that first step. And then as time goes on, the silence grows louder. The regret becomes deeper. And the guilt becomes more overwhelming. So why do we wait? Why do we think that the moment for reconciliation will magically appear? We live in a world that tells us to take what we want, to stand our ground, to never back down. But there is another truth we must confront. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit you were wrong. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who can say, I'm sorry, and mean it from the core of their being. Think about the people in your life, the ones who truly matter, the ones who have shared your moments of joy and sorrow, the ones you've built a life with. What happens when the words we should say go unsaid? What happens when we let pride keep us from apologizing, from fixing what's broken? What happens is that the space between us grows, slowly at first, but then with time it becomes an insurmountable gap. One apology could have closed that gap. One simple I'm sorry could have brought the walls down, but we waited too long and now the distance feels impossible to bridge. Regret is not just an emotion, it's a heavy load we carry with us. And it's a load we don't need to carry, but we do because we fail to understand the importance of reconciliation. We fail to understand that the smallest act of humility can restore the greatest relationships. We tell ourselves that the damage is done, that it's too late to fix what we've broken. But that is a lie. The damage is never too great for an apology. The space between us is never too wide for words of healing. And here's the reality. Sometimes we realize the importance of an apology only when it's too late to offer it. Sometimes we wait until the other person is gone, either physically or emotionally, before we realize the gravity of the situation. And by then, it's not just the relationship we've lost. It's our peace of mind. It's our ability to live with ourselves. It's the constant reminder that we could have done better, but we didn't. But I want to remind you of something. It is never too late to start. It's never too late to choose peace. It's never too late to take that step toward healing. No matter how much time has passed, no matter how far the distance between you and the person you've wronged, there is always a way back. And that way starts with you. It starts with acknowledging that you made a mistake and that you are willing to make it right. The truth is, no one can promise you another chance. No one can guarantee that tomorrow will come with the opportunity to apologize. All you have is today. All you have is the moment in front of you. So don't waste it. Don't wait until it's too late. If there's someone in your life who needs to hear you say, I'm sorry, don't hesitate. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. And don't move on. If you learn something, don't push it away. Then it's not forgotten tomorrow. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. The most important thing you can do is to take the first step. Say the words. Reach out. Don't let time slip away. Don't let regret take root in your heart. Because when it's too late, all you'll have left are the words you never said and the opportunities you let pass by. So, make today the day. Speak the words. Because one day, you might find yourself wishing you had.